Hey everybody, what's going on? Rob Cesternino back here to talk about the momentous finale of Survivor AU versus the world. And here I am back with one of the winners of Survivor AU versus the world. It's
Oh,
Shannon Guss. Shannon, how are you?
I didn't realize I'd won. What did I win? Like, what did I win and what do I win?
Well, that this whole season has been just a fever dream for you. And
That's
so
true.
I'm thrilled for Parvati, but I'm also thrilled for you.
Thank you so much. I mean, I think that would hit harder if I didn't wake up
Mom to
to.
be.
Yes, we can talk about the baby, but also
So many,
more.
one of the many mothers of Survivor AU versus the world. Now you join their ranks.
Thank you. More important than the baby though. No offense, baby, love you. I woke up today for my interview with Cirie, couldn't sleep all night. Set so
Mhm.
many alarms, set Peter's alarm, woke up before all the alarms. It was postponed. So am I really winning? Like, yes, I'm having a baby and I watched the season, I interviewed Parvati and Tony, but like
Mhm.
I'll win when I see Cirie on my screen in front of me talking to
Okay.
me, I think.
So as of press time, it is 8:46 a.m. on Tuesday Eastern Standard Time as we're recording.
Yeah.
And you have been scheduled to do a interview with fourth place winner Cirie Fields,
Yeah, well,
fourth
not a
place
winner.
finisher,
Yeah.
and it has been a little bit, you're getting bounced around.
Yeah, it was canceled, but then it's going to be rescheduled. But now I kind of feel like I can't celebrate until it's done. I shouldn't have counted my chickens. Who counted the
Okay.
chickens? So,
Yeah.
but
All
it's
right.
going to
Well,
happen.
it's going to happen. I have faith. It'll come together and you'll get the chance to talk to Cirie. I listened to your interview with Parvati, which I thought was wonderful. You did a great job. And it was such a nice conversation to hear you talk with her about her big win.
Yeah, that was a thrill too. Like it's funny. I sound entitled because I'm like I spoke to Parvati
Not
yesterday.
you.
Yeah, but then I'm like, but also where's Cirie? I
Hmm.
want it all. I'm not content with but it was amazing to speak to Parvati. She played such a sensational game and she's like a hero of mine. Like I've loved her as I told her for decades.
Yeah.
And I got to tell her that. It's so fun telling people you've loved them for decades.
Hmm.
Yeah. I've loved you for decades. Letting you know.
Well, now it sounds like you just say that to everybody.
No. No, there's a select group.
Okay. All right.
So
Well, we're here to talk about it. It was probably, as expected, Parvati ends up going on to the win in the big finale of Survivor AU versus the world. Probably went a little bit different than I expected in terms
oh.
of Cirie going to the final four fire making. I guess I thought that maybe the one thing that was a surprise for me was I kind of thought Janine would have just voted out Luke.
No, I never thought that, and I thought Stray would lose at fire. I think I like if you had asked me to predict this episode in full,
Hmm.
I think I could have done it. It was still fun to watch the coronation, but that's what it was to me. Like
Hmm.
there were no surprises. Maybe that we didn't get the loved ones. We did not get David, Rob, like we were promised.
I don't think that that was just too much of a
Yeah, it
surprise.
wasn't. I didn't, but I was just waiting. He was like, now to the challenge. I'm like, ugh. I
Hmm.
hate to insult JLP, but yeah, I think that, and I kind of even feel like the votes panned out as expected, but it was fun, right? But like the telegraph, the edit telegraphed the Parvati and the win was hers for the. It wasn't even just the edit; it was the fact that like she was in a position to win, and she would have had to like something would have had to go terribly wrong for her to
Yeah.
lose at
I
that
mean,
point.
it truly was a season of Australian Survivor.
Yes, exactly. No, but there have been surprising outcomes in Australian Survivor,
Hmm.
and here they are. Um, right. Well, when Miles won, I thought that he would win the challenge.
Yes.
Sean losing many
Let's
years
really
ago.
keep it
Yeah,
focused on people. I think
yeah.
people want to hear
You're
us
right. You
talk
know what?
about
You
the
are right that
season.
Australian Survivor might telegraph the winner
Yeah.
a lot. Yeah, they might do that.
And that's great. I mean, that's what Australian Survivor does. And
Is that
it
great?
was epic. And, something also that Australian Survivor does so well as opposed to American Survivor, and specifically American Survivor in the new era, is they know how to do the Final Four. I mean, this was never in doubt for Parvati, but especially when they show you the past torturous Final Four competitions in these tests of wills, who wants it more? It is really hard to compare this to Samotion,
Yes, although
which
I saw so
is
many.
fun, but is tiddlywinks compared to, what the competitors of Australian Survivor do at the Final Four.
Although I think, do you think Cirie could do some motion? Like I'm
Yeah,
already manifesting that she's gonna win that challenge in
I
50.
listen. We could talk more about Final Four. I mean, I really would wonder how would Parvati be at Samotion, but in terms of like what Parvati can do so well, I mean, put her up in this. I think she could have gone another 5 hours.
Yeah, there's a few things here.
I don't think there's
Firstly,
anybody in the world who's better at sort of these like torturous endurance competitions than Parvati. I think
well,
that
maybe
all the
Cass.
things, perhaps, of
Yeah.
all the things she does well, I mean, I think that is the thing that she actually does the best.
Right. So people are complaining about Pav's win, the general public, as expected,
How
although
many
it still
people?
upset
Because I
me.
haven't
The
seen
general
one
public.
complaint. I haven't seen
You're,
one complaint.
are you on Instagram?
You know what? So I had
You just finished
recently.
the episode.
I
I haven't seen
just
one
so
complaint.
I was telling Shannon before I came on. So it's Tuesday morning. I had just watched the episode right before we are recording this, and it was a busy schedule for me. On Sunday was kind of a busy day for me, and then Monday we had a lot going on in the Big Brother world. So it took me a minute to actually get to the episode. So I have not read a lot of the discourse on social media. So people actual real people are complaining, or just like the same sort of people that just are contrarians are complaining.
I mean, I don't know if they're people, but they're Instagram users,
Instagram users, okay.
And I'm not even gone to Facebook because Instagram put me in a really bad mood and I'm really prepared to rant about it. But there are obviously Luke being Australia's treasure, people thought he would win,
Hmm.
and people are upset that he didn't. We can talk through those many grievances. Although, should we give it air? Yeah, why not? So one of the things is like this was so rigged for her. Look at that final challenge. It's like that challenge is what they do every season.
Yeah, that's
It's
Australian
unchanged.
Survivor, baby.
Have you ever watched the show before? And also, because of that, anyone who knows anything, including two people who've done multiple seasons of Australian Survivor, should know that it will benefit Parvati, and taking her to that final four means she'll get to the end. Janine said that they did plan to vote Parvati out if she lost, but that was a very, very big if
Right.
to a probable no. And
Right.
so you knew you were putting her in that spot where you had less chance to win, and she had extreme chance to win that challenge. That's not rigged. That's bad gameplay to let her get there, and good skills by Pav to be
And
so good at that.
gameplay that we've been calling out for the entire third week of why
Yes.
does Luke want to go to the end with Parvati? What are Luke and Janine doing?
Yes.
Why do they
But-
want this? That's the
but-
question you should be asking.
Because I think Luke thought that he would have a jury of similar people to the Instagram users and Luke is like so likable and he is Australia's treasure. And in some ways, like that will get votes, and it would always have gotten votes for Luke before this season. But the issue is, I think Luke's game was propped up by a lot of the flash, like meaningless flash without actually doing much. But that
Right.
worked on the casuals. Like that seemed to work on the general
Okay.
population. That didn't work on the jury.
And may I add to that in terms of like Luke's game in the past being about a lot of flash, where I would say that I did not see that flash in Survivor AU versus the world. Where was the Luke flash?
Yeah.
I talked last week about how I thought that Shawnee had kind of an underwhelming season in terms of how much she showed us, but I feel like that Luke, classic Luke, king of the jungle, big explosive moves. He even said like, I tried not to do that this time. It's like, well, then
Yeah.
what did we have here? Janine talked about Luke as Luke is all heart, and I get that, but it just I felt like was not a super exciting game. Yeah, Luke won 3 immunity challenges, but
Yeah.
and he did find an idol, but overall, like this was not a of Luke's seasons. This was like the least exciting Luke season.
Yeah, 100%. I have a cousin who hasn't watched the season. She watched it here and she's like, I don't really get it. I'm like, Luke is a brilliant player. He came in as my winner pick and he's usually a lot better than this. He's done the exciting stuff to his detriment in the 3-2-2-2, which sent him and
Yeah.
Sarah home.
Yeah, that was
but
the
he
one,
also,
the one time.
yeah, but not just that, he also did the 2-1-1 at the final 5 where he sends Baden out of tribal council. Like, we didn't see that, and he had the power to do it. You're saying he found an idol, he won 3 immunity challenges at 7, 6, and 5. Those are the 3 spots we're asking to take shots, and you're immune. So we saw that, but I think that what he was trying to do was create a narrative and a story, and that story worked on the viewing audience and not on the jury, and it wouldn't have worked for me as a juror. But I think yes,
they're remembering the previous season.
No, they like this. They like this. They like that he put the necklace on Janine. They like that he played hard. He had a harder game. You know, Parvati just has people flock to her. Like, yeah, that's a skill. That's a crazy. Most people don't have that. You know, like, I think that there is, and I'll do the rant actually. There is so much sexism in the Australian public. That's the first part. That, again, I said this on the recap, when a woman, one of the best players of all time, if not maybe the best, plays one of the best, if not the best game of all time, it's telegraphed in the edit. She tells you it at final tribal council, but you have a likable young guy next to her who's also loud. They don't get it. To be fair, like, and even my dad was like, I love Luke, but I get it. But this, even my dad, but like this, the general public, like, he played harder. He was the underdog. It's hard to be the overdog. It's hard to get no votes. It's hard to control so much and be in on everything and have flash like Parvati did. But anyway, they don't see that, and I think a lot of that is the way people view women, and also the way people view women like Parvati. I think that is also a thing.
Sure, I think all of those things are happening. Totally valid points. If I'm an Australian Survivor viewer and I maybe don't know who Parvati is or don't know her backstory, haven't seen, you know, you have such a 4-dimensional even view of all of this. If I'm just somebody who's watched Australian Survivor and I've watched Luke play and dominate in 2 different seasons, and then he comes back and I don't really know who Parvati is. She's like, oh, sure, I know of, like, I get it. She's like from an American Survivor, but I watch Australian Survivor. I can understand why they're disappointed that Luke doesn't win.
No, don't let them off the... It's not about being disappointed, because you can have favorites. I'm disappointed Cirie didn't win. It's about not understanding why Parvati played such a great game. It's about attributing her success and her skills to luck or to it being rigged. I saw someone being like, it was clearly rigged. You could tell in the edit. The edit is done after the show, you idiot. But also, I think for me, it's just like, it's the gender bias that's so clear, more than it's even international, because at the end of the day, most people didn't know Cass and Tommy before this season. People came away loving Cass and Tommy. You know Parvati now. You saw like 1,000 confessionals of her, and she played brilliantly here. So if you can't get it from this, you're not trying to see it. And I'd love that to be national, because let people have country pride, I guess. But I do think when Haley beat George, people didn't get it. When Haley played one of the best games, when like she's one of the best players, they didn't get it. And I think that there's something, you know, she seems too quiet of a woman, and Parvati seems too beautiful. You know what I mean? Like, a woman in a bikini can't be doing the smartest thing, but she is. And I think that it's so ingrained. We see it all the time. And it really put me in a bad mood when I looked at it yesterday.
Well, anyway, I'm sorry for that. These are not serious people.
There's so many of them.
You know, don't give them your attention. You called out a lot of, you know, real issues here. But I for the most part, I don't think that those are the people we're talking to.
It's actually not. I love preaching to the choir. I mean, to be fair, like, I still think there's some parts of Parvati's game, like we even discussed it last week, you know, like nuances of what is quite a mature game, what she was trying to do with ripping up the idol stealer, that I think even across the spectrum of fandom, people don't understand. I think Parvati explained it better than I ever could at Final Tribal Council. So I get, again, like, even my dad gets it now.
Yeah.
So I think that, like, at this point, but I still think that there will be people questioning it, and maybe it's a tall poppy thing. Maybe we don't like when people are that good, but she is, and I think that we just do well to accept it as an Australian public. I'm saying this to the Australian people because I feel ashamed as an Australian.
You don't need to feel ashamed.
But I do. That's my people, technically. South Africans didn't do great either this season, so I don't know where to sit with it.
Okay. Well, Shannon, this was such a tour de force from Parvati, and she really does come into this season and, you know, has a lot of attention on her from the start, and she's able to really be able to, you know, ride the waves of all these people that were coming for her, and she does it in such a graceful way at the end of the game, where she gets the World Tribe to vote for her, where that the acrimony from the Australian tribe really did spill over to the final tribal council. I thought it was such a big moment in the final tribal council when Sarah brings up that she had the chance to talk with Kirby, and they found out that it was really Janine that was the person. And even Luke has a big reaction to finding out that Janine was responsible for making the Australian team turn on each other.
Yeah, I mean, Luke was the one who told Janine to do that. Like, so
So
if
he
you're,
was he playing in the final tribal council? Because I thought it really was such a dagger to Janine, where he acts like, wait, it was Janine?
yeah, I can't. I'd love to ask him. I don't
And I
think I'm
thought
getting an
if
extra
it
interview
was
with Luke.
intentional, I thought it makes him look bad also, because it's like, wait, I don't even know what's going on.
Yeah, it's hard to know if he's just throwing Janine under the bus. I thought that was good. Look, it didn't help Janine. So maybe like there are some things where it's like that's not my circus or my monkeys. But it is possible that like they had that conversation, but then maybe they had a subsequent conversation where he was like, maybe don't do it right now. Like we don't, you know what I'm saying? Like it's hard.
Mhm.
They did have that conversation, but maybe he didn't think she'd do it then, or that maybe he told her to not. Like we saw one conversation, she did do it. Other things may have occurred, so it's hard to know if he was just doing the Luke thing. It was great because the running theme of the season has been Luke being blindsided, and to get that in the final tribal council felt thematically correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to know. And then Sarah votes for Luke, but like Sarah's, I think, always going to vote for Luke because
Her
they
buddy.
have many years of friendship. But yeah, that was a great moment. What did you think of that about the not then though? And we cut to an ad break, so you knew it was dramatic.
Yeah. Not then. Not
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Because I thought Janine had a really good opening statement, and we had been hearing so much about how Janine is a keynote speaker and she's going to do a really great job. And then I thought she really did have a very strong opening statement and really got the tribal council started. I said, okay, maybe there's something here for Janine. But then I just thought that she was like completely unraveled in that, where it was, oh, by the way, yeah, everything you said was good, but you also were responsible for the Australian tribe really just coming apart.
But that's because she claims her game as loyal. I mean, she claims her
Loyal.
game as flawless, which maybe
Mm-hmm.
Pav could do, maybe. But you know, you shouldn't do. Like I think that when you overstate at Final Tribal Council, you only give people the opportunity to catch you out. You have to
Yeah.
be so. Even Pav was doing it so well. You could tell she wasn't overstating anything. Everything was so considered. Like I knew the internationals would come for me at a point. Hard to argue with that. You know, I think that and even with Tommy, she wasn't acting like I was going to work with you. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to really balance under and overstating in Final Tribal Council. And I don't think Janine did. And I think the hard thing is when you come in with a game that's harder to defend, then you have to start overstating, right? You can't be like, I didn't play a great game, but I did, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like at that point, then you have to overstate and then people will catch you out. Well, if you play a good game, you can like state it all correctly and then people can be on the ride with you in this like accurate way. So that's another really hard part about going there with a game that's harder to defend.
Yeah. Did Janine make a mistake by sending Luke into the fire? Because then she had to come in and really try to pitch herself as my game. Yes, I brought Luke to the end because my game was about trust and loyalty. That's what gets you to the end. And she's really trying to say that was my game, was all about trust. And I had this great trust with Luke. And then for Sarah to say, well, actually, if it's
Not
all
then
about
though.
trust and loyalty, where if Janine said, listen, yeah, I loved Luke, but my game was all about number one. I'm the best businesswoman in all of Australia, and I'll cut deals left and right. I'm looking out for number one. And so I did whatever I could to get here to the end. And if that meant throwing Luke under the bus, if that meant throwing Sarah under the bus, I did it because I'm the shrewdest businesswoman in the world.
But then that doesn't line up with the fact that, okay, you looked out for number one by going to the end with two of the greatest players who have ever played this individual game
And we're
and the
not going
game
to let
ever.
two goddamn Americans come in and win Australian Survivor. Not on my watch, jury. Australia, we need to stick together.
And they would have had a majority of Australians on the jury at that point. But I
We're
think
going to let two people who play in a season that they don't even play for 48 days like we do on Australian television. We're going to get disgraced. Are you going to let that happen? Not in my country.
so you want just like blind patriotism.
I mean, listen, you got to go with what works.
Yeah.
Play the
But
hits, Janine.
I think the
And
only
I'll
patriot
tell
was
you what,
Luke.
vote for me, free smoothies for life.
That's good. No, a vote for me, you all get $100,000. That's much.
Well, I think
But
that's, now we're really complete, like just trouncing on the rules.
well, I mean, if I could drink $100,000 worth of smoothies, then aren't you
I think
trouncing on the rules
really, I think
anyway?
that if you're giving them
And I
each
could do it
$100,000, I think you're paying out more than you're even winning for the prize.
by far, much
I
more.
think you're actually losing at that
She
point.
said it's not about the money. It's not about the money.
It's not
Russell
about
once
the
said he'd
money.
pay Natalie White for the title, right? Free
I
smoothies,
believe he
sure.
wanted to pay her $10,000 for the title.
No, that's such a small amount of money.
I
Who
believe
would
that's
do
what he
that?
offered.
The title's worth $1 million. That's such
Shannon,
an insulting
listen,
offer.
I'm telling you, that's what he tried to offer.
$10,000? She got that for just for being at the
I will pay
reunion.
you $10,000 for the title of Soul Survivor.
That's the dumbest thing like still to this day, it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Like
Mhm.
you don't have the title if you bought it. Is there like a plaque? Like I don't know. And also 10,000. I mean, that's crazy. But yeah, anyway, Janine, I think if I was to order the arguments, I think like free smoothies. I mean, if you could give them money, I think that
Yeah.
would go a long way. Free smoothies.
Yeah.
The patriotism thing. Look at these Australians. Have they been patriotic the entire season? But I think it wasn't to me
Jonathan brought it
about.
up at the finale.
Yeah, but like everyone kind of wanted the Americans to win. The same way we look at American Survivor, like our big brother that we just love more than ourselves.
Mhm.
I think she should like taking Luke was fine because sitting next to Parvati and Cirie is also just so awful. Like, the game is lost. But I think that it needed to be about making Luke her beta and making Luke her puppet and all the things she did better than Luke, like the Kirby vote. I think that
Yeah.
should have differentiated her from Luke. And
Yep.
you can bring him to do that.
Okay.
But the interesting thing that Janine said to me was that she's worse at fire than Cirie. And we said on the recap yesterday that they should have been voting for Janine. And I feel that even more now. Cirie should have gone to fire against Janine and sat at the end, which is what you wanted to do.
Oh, that's
Even
interesting.
with Parvati.
So you feel like that Cirie and Parvati, that instead of putting their votes on Luke, they
Yeah.
should have put their votes on Janine.
I think Cirie should have done that. I don't think Parvati should do that. I think Parvati is perfect like this. But if you can convince Parvati, who's so loyal,
But
like I don't want to make fire against Luke.
That Cirie feels really thrown under the bus if now that they've split their votes.
I think Parvati will do it. I think if Cirie asks her.
Yeah. Parvati doesn't care.
Parvati loves Cirie. Like that's one thing I've learned. She was willing to play her idol on Cirie at the final 5, which we said last week I didn't even think would happen.
Mhm.
So I think she would do it, and then she could make fire against Janine. She couldn't make fire against Luke. I mean, she did, but like not in time. And Janine said that she was worse than Cirie at fire, and they said Luke was the best at fire. So don't you think if you're going in with like a pretty good chance of making fire, you should vote for the person who can't make fire as good as well?
I mean, makes all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah, and it can't go badly because if she's with you, it's a 2-1-1,
Yeah.
which you win anyway. And if she's not with you, you're going to fight against Janine, which is
Mm-hmm.
you would just think that if Cirie wanted to make it to the end, like she was so worried about Luke and for why. Are you on Instagram, Cirie? Are you one of the people?
What happens if
Luke should've
Cirie's in
won?
the final 3? Okay, so let's say that they do that. It's Cirie, Janine, and Parvati in the final 3. How does that change? Does Parvati still win or no?
I think so. I mean, it's hard without seeing Cirie's pitch, and I don't think going to the end with Parvati was the
Well, I think
move.
Cirie probably is going to get
It's very good.
is going to get the internationals. Is going to get Tommy, and she's good. So I feel like that gives Cirie
Forget
3
Lisa.
votes. And
That one I think Cass loved Parvati. We kind of missed this part of the story that like Tommy loved Tony and Lisa loved Cirie and Cass loved Parvati. She says when she votes for her, you're what made me love Survivor to begin with. I think that definitely Cass could go to Parvati. I think Shawnee could go to Parvati.
Mm-hmm.
I think Sarah at that point could go to Parvati. I think Luke goes to Janine. And then Kirby goes to Parvati. Depends how good Cirie is. Like, and it depends how much Lisa's there, like, I'll kill you all. You'd vote for Cirie.
Mm-hmm.
I would not blame her for that. So I think Parvati comes in leading. I really do. But Cirie shouldn't have gone to the end with Parvati. Like that mistake's been made. I've criticized that already. But like at the final 4, what you want to do is sit at the end, even in a final 3 format that I don't love for you structure, then Luke's the least of your concerns. You're already dealing with Parvati. We'll have to deal with that tomorrow. Vote out Janine. And then, so it wouldn't be Janine. It would be Luke. Oh, it would be Luke. Sorry. Luke would be there. So Sarah might go to Luke.
Well, why
I
is
was
Luke
thinking,
there? I thought we said that it's the
yeah,
way
you vote
that
out.
they could
They
have done it
fire out
was.
Janine. They fire
Yeah.
out Janine. So sorry.
Okay.
So Luke get back at Sarah and Janine.
Okay.
Parvati might get. It might be the 3-2-2 that Micronesia promised us very
Mhm.
long ago. Parvati might get Shawnee, Cass, and Kirby, and maybe Cirie gets Tommy and Lisa, and it comes down to Cass's vote in like a 3-2-2.
Mhm.
If Luke is there, taking some votes from Parvati, like a Sarah vote.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. Then it comes down to Cass. Maybe Cirie speaks brilliantly. I still go in leaning Parvati, but very interesting.
I want to talk about Cirie, and ultimately she comes in 4th place finish. We see Cirie go out at 4 in fire again. So
Yeah.
now we're out of new ways for Cirie to creatively lose Survivor. So we're just going back to the top of the order, back to old school Panama. I had thought perhaps.
Oh no, don't do that. No.
What?
You think it starts again?
I don't know.
You think surprise final 3 in Survivor 50? You think that we're
Wow.
like eternally
I
down?
didn't even like what a treat for the fans it would be to
No,
like,
no.
hey,
No,
you
no.
all asked us so much for a final 2.
No.
It's back, baby. We did it. And then unfortunately, I mean, if that's what happens,
I can't do another advantage get in Survivor 70. No, not again. Not the cycle. Oh, we're in
Yeah.
hell. We're actually in hell.
Okay. So just to go back to Cirie, I had wondered aloud when Cirie was making the fire against Sarah. I'm like, is Cirie throwing this to get out Tony? I have to say, no, absolutely not.
No,
That
she
was
made
not
a
the thing.
fire this time, Rob.
She
Come
did.
on.
She did make a fire, and so
It's been almost 20 years, and we've gone
also
to this point.
I'll say Luke, not that good at making fire.
Imagine how bad Janine must be.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Luke was just like making like a pile. Like it
Luke,
seemed
I
like
think,
that
burned his
Luke did
hand.
not actually seem like he knew what he was doing. I have more notes on Luke in the fire making than Cirie.
What was he doing wrong? Just throwing sticks around?
I don't know. It just like was like a panic of just like throwing. I'm just gonna throw a bunch of trash in there and see what happens. It's just so he just threw made a pile.
Yeah. The pile worked though. Okay,
Yeah.
how can we criticize the pile? That gets
I
one
do
to a
think
final
that maybe
3?
we're sort of spoiled, but I do think that the average new era Survivor contestant who knows the Final Four fire making is going to be a thing comes in incredibly prepared. So I think that these Final Four fire makings that we see in new era Survivor, that these people are really at the top of their game, and that it was
Yeah,
not
these new
impressive.
nerds compared to the people who don't watch the show on this season.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
the new era nerds are all like practicing fire in their backyard.
Yeah.
Anyone doing has Cirie been doing that? I don't think
Yeah,
so.
it just seems like that. Yeah, the average new era Survivor contestant is going to come in, just trounces Luke in the Final Four fire making.
Every new era contestant, yes,
And
because
Sam
they care so
Fallon
much
just
about
like,
this game. Yeah.
it wouldn't be close. But anyway, so for Cirie to go out here at the Final Four, Cirie, I felt like does not get like a starring role here in this season. I think that if this was a movie, this is like the romantic comedy. Parvati is the lead. Cirie is the supportive best friend.
Ugh, and you're right. She's so much more than that. She deserves so much more.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm always frustrated in every show, other than the Traitors. She got a lot on that.
She did.
I could always use more Cirie. We needed more because everything she gives is so good. Like, why isn't she just constantly talking?
I don't know.
That's a note that I have. Not enough Cirie.
Yeah. It seems like that, Parvati certainly got like the starring billing in the season. And of course, she goes on to win. But Cirie, I think, is always just featured in the season as like a supporting role more so than the co-lead with Parvati.
We've always said about Australian Survivor, they struggle to edit duos. And usually that would mean getting kind of nothing to what Parvati got. So it's actually a kind of a credit to Cirie that she got as much as she did. And they've been probably a bit better about it lately. But yeah, it is. I think it could have been more. Could have built up the fact that like we started the cycle again and this heartbreak is going to happen. Like they could have built Cirie up a lot more than they did, I think.
Yeah. For Cirie, where do you think it ultimately goes wrong here in this season?
The double tribal was bad. She kind of never recovered from that. She
Yeah.
like was in the driver's seat, and then she wasn't after that. She loses Lisa. She's not in control. You know, she does vote out Janine. She still could have voted out. I'm now really thinking about that 3-2-2, but yeah. I feel like at that point, like it really did become Parvati's season. Parvati just played that one night so well, solely so well, when everyone else was not good.
Yeah.
And she just won it there.
So I thought this was super interesting going back to, I thought you had an amazing interview with Parvati, and you and she brought up the advantage and how it got played, because it came up at this final tribal council, and she talked about how she bluffed Cass. And I thought that was such a fun part of the conversation where you two were talking about it. And she said Cass was going to go play an idol. And she's like, oh, okay, oh, well, I have an idol steal. And she just started reading the note. And then she read the first two lines. And then she got to the third line about how it was, oh, you actually have to play this before the votes are cast. And she just stopped reading that.
Yeah. Well, she forgot the rules.
She forgot the rules. She doesn't. She was like, okay, well, hey, oh wait, she's trying to steal my idol. Oh, hold on, I have something for this. Hold on a second. And she just read it. And then Jonathan tried to get her to like, oh, and Parvati, what does that last part say? And she told you that, and then she just didn't read the last part of the thing. So that was so interesting how that unfolded.
She was like, this note can't stop me because I can't read.
Yeah.
Just like,
but
ended
she
it
just
there.
like had the chutzpah to just like, oh no, I'm just gonna like act like this is what it's supposed to do.
Yeah. It's brilliant. She bluffed right on the spot, and it worked for everyone. She didn't know the rules of the idol stealer.
Yeah.
She didn't know the names. She kept calling it knowledge is power.
Right. But
she didn't know what was going on.
Like in the moment is just improving of like it basically she went to the store and tried to like use a coupon that was like, oh no, you can't use this today. And she's like, when does that expire? Like, next week. Like, oh, okay, good, you're fine.
I had this moment last week. Can I share a story?
Please.
I went to pick up our good friend Asia and her girlfriend Sarah from the airport. And for many reasons, their luggage was not there. And we had to go back to the airport an hour later. And they went to get their luggage. And then we were in the parking place for more than 15 minutes. So I was going to have to pay for parking. I'm like, you are not making me pay for parking when I had to come back to get their luggage. So I like rung the bell. I'm like, hey, they told us we don't have to pay for parking. They're like, who told you? I'm like, the guy. They're like, what do you say? They're like, ask me these specific questions. Asia's like, you're better than me because I would have folded right there. And I was like, they said we don't have to. I think because we're just over, they maybe didn't validate it. He's like, usually they'd validate it. I was like, they didn't.
Can you validate this for me?
Yeah. Eventually they just let us out. I was so proud of myself.
You did it.
Yeah.
You're ready.
We didn't pay that $10 or however much it would have been in international parking, and we shouldn't have. They lost the luggage. Why? Anyway. But yeah, so I get it. Sometimes you just have to be like, he asked me, I didn't panic. I just said, the guy said it. That the guy that works at luggage. Steve, his name. I think it was it Steve? Is there a Steve? Just start guessing
I don't know
names.
if there's a Steve at the airport.
Yeah. So I think Parvati and I did something pretty similar with her bluff, and I got out of the airport parking.
Her power.
Yeah, my power. How impressive that I did that. Anyway.
Yeah.
You don't seem impressed enough, but Asia was impressed. Sarah was impressed. So
I mean, you got out of paying what, $10 at the airport?
Could have been more. It's so expensive at the airport, Rob.
Yeah.
That was my second time at the airport in 2 hours.
Impressive.
And I got really lost going home.
Yeah.
It was quite a night. You had to be there. But anyway, that's the story of the airport. What were we talking about? Parvati's bluff.
Parvati's bluff.
Yeah.
And how she did it.
Yeah. Just gotta keep it cool, calm under pressure. I understand now because I did that.
So one of the things I noticed that when we got to the finale, we started talking about that we were playing for the title of who's the greatest player of all time. I didn't know that was on the line this season. I felt like that we kind of retconned this. If Janine wins, is Janine the greatest Survivor player of all time?
If she wins like Parvati did, maybe.
I just felt like, okay, oh, wait, hold on. I thought I didn't know this was like, we're playing for the greatest player of all time. I thought it was Australia versus the world. I didn't know that we were playing for the title of greatest player of all time.
For the global title is what they said. Do you think Jeff likes this? Do you think
No,
Jeff is gonna
no.
go back and
And
edit in for 50 that it's for the greatest player of all time?
now, okay, now if we're talking about Parvati specifically, and now we're adding this to Parvati's resume, I think that
Yeah.
now I think okay, now we have a case for the greatest player
Yeah.
of all time.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that that they set up this finale of like, and then the winner will is find out who will be the greatest player of all time. It's like, hold on a second.
Yeah. It was weird because Australian Survivor is usually quite
If
subtle.
Tommy won the season, he's the greatest Survivor player of all time.
If Tommy came in and won in a second language, maybe. How are these players winning? If Tommy does that, if he takes that part, yes. Okay. Bravo, Tommy.
I guess
Tommy
so.
forever.
I guess, but there has been a lot
They should have been the
of
world champion. It should have been greatest of all time. Because I feel
sure.
like that was like a winners at war thing. That makes sense for winners. I think that you do world champ. The only way to do greatest of all time is you get every player who's ever played in any Survivor and you just throw them
Mhm.
on a beach.
Yeah. Because to me,
That's
I
how you
feel
do
like that this was sort of like this was like a World Cup type
Yeah.
situation
Mhm.
where this is not necessarily like the league that you are playing in, but this was like some sort of like world exhibition on the world stage to have people play from these different formats come together.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about sport,
Mhm.
but yeah, I mean, people said it was like the Olympics, but
It's like the
again,
Olympics.
I don't watch the
Right.
Olympics.
Where, you play, say, like in the NBA, and then there's basketball, like in the Olympics. But, like, is the team that you're playing against in the Olympics the equivalent of who you're playing in the NBA finals? Probably not.
I mean, this is so above my pay grade, Rob. Is that
Yeah.
true? Is
I
that
don't
how
want to
sport
get I
works?
don't want to get too much in the weeds on the analogy here. I want to talk about the Parvati case for the greatest of all time, because
Yeah.
this with a second title, it is a very strong case because that Parvati does not have the glaring weakness of anybody else to be able to, because she's so good at so many of the things
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
she does. Specifically the endurance competition, where I just think that she's the best to ever do it.
Yeah. I think she is the most comprehensive player of all time. I think
Mhm.
that's easy. Greatest. I mean, does Tony have glaring flaws anymore, Rob? Since game changes in Winners of War and even this season, have we seen flaws from Tony anymore? He's a more extreme player. He's a more
He's
extreme person. He's had the losses more
Yeah.
so.
I
He's
guess if
had
I
the
was gonna
lows.
compare Tony and Parvati specifically, Tony, I actually feel like is not as great of a individual challenge threat as Parvati is. Tony is strong, and Tony can certainly like hold his
He won a
own.
lot in Winners at War.
He did win a lot in Winners at War, and I have to go back and take a look at the actual challenges that he did. I know he did win at least an endurance challenge in Winners at War. But I just think that Parvati has just a sheer, magnetism to
Yeah.
her that Tony does not have that.
I think Tony is very endearing. Like
He's
Tony
endearing
has
for sure.
gotten a lot of jury votes. A lot of jury votes. I mean, he
Hmm.
had big juries. He had a really big jury in Winners at War. People want to vote for Tony. I think I think he does have like a sparkly social game. I don't know that anyone compares to Pav's charisma. She might be the most charismatic person
Yeah.
in the world. I think she
Tony
has
is a
the world title
performer.
of that.
I was with Tony in I'm trying to remember so it was back in
You
the
don't
spring.
remember?
I'm trying to remember, like, listen,
You were with
Ti
Tony?
time's a flat circle. I'm trying to remember if it was the fall or the spring. It was February, and
That's so
we
cool.
they had the beach drop
Oh yeah, that's so
for Survivor
awesome.
49. Cirie was there also,
Oh my god,
and
stop it! I
yeah,
will hang up.
Tony and Cirie were
I'm gonna
both
leave.
there,
Yeah.
and just Tony was just holding court, and he's such a
Yeah.
performer, and
Yeah.
that's such a great environment for. Parvati doesn't hold court. Parvati, that's not how Parvati works. Parvati is just sort of like a force of being that she is the sun, and people are just drawn in by her gravity. Where when she like puts her spell on you, she just can, pull these people in. That's not necessarily how Tony works.
Yeah, it's different, but I think
It's
both are
different.
amazing. I think Parvati's charisma It's like she can charisma her way out of anything. She's like any speeding ticket, dare I
Seemingly.
say,
Yeah.
airport parking,
Yeah.
maybe. I think that I think like even you see that question that Cass asks, like I think Mike said like the trademark Parvati giggle will get you, like that's a hard question to answer about which jury votes are you gonna get. And it's like, well, Kirby, and then she does a smile, and it's like that's not insulting. That's a plea, and it's reciprocated.
Yeah. Yeah, Kirby really throws a softball to Parvati at the final tribal council of like, were you ever really gonna work with me? I was like, Kirby, stand up. Where's the Kirby? Where's the Kirby from Titans versus Rebels?
What do you mean? Where's the Kirby from the first half of the season?
Yeah, Kirby. Like I feel like lost all like self-respect of just like Parvati voted you out. Like, but you did really like me, right? Right?
Firstly, how dare you?
Stand up, Kirby. Come on.
Secondly,
Ferris
can you
is
blame
ashamed.
her? No, I don't think so.
I'm joking.
No, but can you blame Kirby? Can you blame her? Have you seen the Black Widow's web? Have we been here for decades? Kirby did. Like, I don't think she fell into the Black Widow's web.
Kirby has not seen the Black Widow's web, for the record.
Yeah, she definitely hasn't. She should. It's a great season, but I think that. But she like I don't know. I think that's too harsh on Kirby. I think saying that she's like a Jason Siska is like way too insulting for Kirby. But
How's
I do
she
think
like Jason Siska?
If she fell into the web, like an Eric.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think she's like that. I don't think that she got overawed by Parvati.
I don't think she didn't get duped by Parvati. She just like so desperately like wanted Parvati to say that like, oh no, I really did like you.
Which is the saddest thing because I'm like that with Kirby.
Mm-hmm.
Like I spoke to Kirby and she was like,
do you think Kirby respects that?
No, I think this is actually a really embarrassing story, but she called me and she was saying how she sometimes comes to Sydney and we should get lunch. Yeah. And I was like, oh, if you come to Sydney, we should do the deep dive in person. And then I realized I hadn't responded to lunch. So I texted her after the call and I said, oh, sorry, I realized I didn't respond about lunch. I would be really keen to get lunch. And then she didn't reply, Rob.
Desperation is a stinky cologne.
She's doing it to Parvati. Can she relate to the fact that I just want to get lunch with her? I think, and I hadn't.
That's Parvati's power.
Stated. No, that was Kirby.
Even Kirby, who you never would have thought was capable of being reduced to that kind of desperation. That's how powerful Parvati is.
How pathetic am I that I'm doing that?
Even more pathetic.
Like being, pathetic exception. And imagine me with Parvati.
But still able to get through airport parking payments.
Yeah, well, that guy obviously he's the most pathetic. So let's tier rank Parvati and like least pathetic.
Parvati not pathetic at all. Then Kirby, then you, then the guy at the airport.
The airport guy. Yeah. God forbid, who knows who's falling for that guy. Shame. He. It was fine. It was actually nice. It was nice. Thank you, Steve. Oh no, Steve was the other guy. There was no Steve. Yeah, you're right. But Stevie I can't blame
from Titans versus Rebels. No, it's not. Champions versus contenders.
That would be shocking. It's more likely to be like Jerry, people who work at the airport.
Yeah, Jerry.
if it's Stevie, it wasn't Stevie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I could tell.
Speaking of Jerry, a Survivor 49 contestant has a pierced nipple.
You remember that?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't a pierced nipple. It was a nipple tattoo. How could you forget?
Whatever. Nipple adornment. Coming, Survivor 49 premieres September 24th, right here on RHAP as a podcast. Survivor Know-It-Alls is gonna be back.
Well, you know I don't notice what people do to their nipples. Famously.
Shannon.
Why? Why let that go there? Why let me be more pathetic? I've already
short season.
Why
will we see this again?
Like you know when I said I've loved you for decades? That ends tonight.
Yes.
What's the future? What, you mean like another season of this?
Yeah, will we do this again?
I hope so. I did hear that The Amazing Race is already getting better ratings in it, though. How upsetting is that?
You did hear that The Amazing Race is getting better ratings than Australian Survivor versus the World.
Yeah, I think it said that better than every single episode of it. So,
wow.
Yeah.
I mean, is The Amazing Race beloved in Australia?
It's not. They have celebrities, but then So during the episode where I was watching the finale, it's like Amazing Race coming on Monday. And then it had like a list of the celebrities, and the top one was like Steph Curry. And I was like, oh my God, there's an actor named Stephen Curry. Like, isn't that false advertising? Are you joking? Like, how many people are tuning in for Steph Curry? So maybe that's why it got such good ratings. Like, if we were going to have Survivor, I clearly know nothing about sports, but I know that's someone important. Like, I think people would tune in. Maybe more Survivor players need to be called like Denzel Washington or something. You know what I mean? Like, maybe we just need to be changing the names of the players. People would tune in, be like, Denzel? And it wouldn't be him.
So you think that should be a gimmick that Survivor does of
Yes!
cast people with the same name as like
Names of
famous
celebrities.
people?
Yes. Yes.
I feel like the way we did have a show like that on CBS called like I Get That All the Time of people that had like the same name as famous people. Or
But it can't be baked into the premise that they're not the famous people. You got to be showing up expecting it's like George Clooney, but it's just George who works at the airport. That George.
Different George
Clooney.
Not Steve that worked at the airport.
Not Steve Martin. No, he's in baggage.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's.
Wait, no. Wait, you want to see it again, Rob?
Yeah.
I think we're on track. Do you want to see it again?
Yeah, I would do this again. I think that this would be exciting to have this back. I mean, we have no shortage of American survivors that would go and do it. I think we have no shortage of Australian survivors that would come back and play.
Here's the debate. You want it to be US versus Australian Survivor, which it was meant to be.
Yes.
I think the global angle worked.
I mean,
Rob.
Listen, I was excited. I was thrilled for Lisa, and I don't know if I've given Lisa enough praise on this podcast because I thought that she brought so much to the season. And sure, and Rob Bentley was like an iconic first boot. Ultimately, Tommy Cass were fine. They were fine.
They were great. How dare you?
But if this was also, if instead of Tommy and Cass, this was, Tyson and Kelly Wentworth also there. Like, I know you said 2 weeks ago that, Rob, it is already as good as it can be. It can't be any better. But I would argue to you that it, in fact, could be better still.
I've loved my time getting to know Cass and Tommy through the 82 episodes I watched of them and then the 10 here. And look, I think it's not about the actual players, though. I think all four
Tommy Westman instead of Tommy from Finland.
Should be Tommy Cruise. Then people would tune in. That's what it is. Okay, maybe he should have changed his name. And maybe that's what... Anyway, and what I'm saying is that it's not just about the people. It's cool that it's global. Like, maybe that's a me thing because I'm literally the global Survivor correspondent. Sure. The fact that there's an opportunity for people from canceled franchises, like the fact that there's this like real international element, the fact that this community has been so global and it's so good. Survivor South Africa is so good. Some of these seasons are so good across the world and we can expand our knowledge base, and I learned more and I saw different franchises through this. Like, I think there's something really cool about that. Would I not like AU versus US that has legends on? Of course I would love that. But I think that the global angle also really worked for what it was thematically, even beyond the players, although I did also enjoy the international players.
Yeah. You can say you enjoyed the international players, but it should have been all US people. I think that there's definitely room to do this. I think it would have been very exciting if they do it again. Okay. Jonathan LaPaglia, his final episode of hosting Australian Survivor.
Yes.
Yes. What do you want to say?
No, you just watched the episode, so I can tell you what you maybe haven't seen. Did you see that the final three? Oh, you saw.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't read the comments, but there was no not seeing everything.
But you saw it was their JLP?
Oh, no, I didn't see that.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So you can experience that on the camera. Because I told Chappelle right before the podcast, and I was kicking myself because I'm like, we needed the reaction.
I think you were going to say that JLP
Parvati
was at Parvati's watch party.
I did see that too. Zach Werdenberger told me that he name dropped me to him.
Yes, what did he say?
He was talking about one of the things I said on the podcast about my theory about why they were going to the end with Parvati. And I said, did he know who I was? And Zach said yes. How cool is that?
Yeah. I mean,
I'm coming off desperate again. I hear it.
So I just want to make sure I'm following this. So Zach Wertenberger was talking to JLP, And
Yeah.
JLP quoted something that you said
No,
on the
Zach
podcast.
quoted. Zach
Zach.
said, yeah. And
Zach-
JLP seemed to register that he knew who I am.
Oh, okay. Yeah, of course he knows who you are. After all the years of you covering the show,
I don't
you're
think
an
that's a given.
institution.
That's so kind. Me? The
You've never
desperate
interviewed
person?
JLP?
I have. But how many people have interviewed JLP? You think he remembers being interviewed by me in the famous interview of, I think, 2021 when he got banned from being interviewed by me after that? You think he remembers that?
It's a little vague, but yeah, I'm sure he knows who you are. And
Well,
so,
apparently.
yeah.
But the Janine Luke Parvati thing. JLP.
JLP, yeah, very, very interesting.
No, I have a better react. Come on, Rob. JL, what are the odds of that? That's so low. JLP, the final three.
Mm-hmm.
I thought maybe you just weren't getting it because you're not reacting.
No, I got it.
That's so cool. So cool.
An interesting footnote for sure.
Okay. Yeah, so you wanted to say about JLP?
Well, I mean, this was his final episode of hosting Australian Survivor. Do you feel like that the show gave him a proper send-off?
Well, they didn't know they were sending him off, and he also didn't know that he was being fired. So no. I mean, it's not like what were they meant to say?
I mean, that they could have like done
dedicated
some kind
to
of
JLP.
an end card of like
a postscript.
Yeah,
like,
thank you, Jonathan LaPaglia, like our 10 years of service of us hosting Australian Survivor. Should they have done anything like that?
No, because they fired him and it's been so negative. Like, it's literally like, I don't recall saying good luck. I would enjoy if it was like some movie montage thing, you know, like it's like, well, I'm hopeful. Yes, I am. And it just like picture of JLP, it like freezes on him. And it's like, JLP went on to host this.
We don't want to make it look like that he has passed. So it is probably a little bit of a tricky thing to navigate.
They could say dedicated to JLP, brackets 2017 to 2025, and then brackets again of Survivor, brackets again, he's still alive, brackets again, we fired him.
Yeah.
I don't think they should acknowledge what they did to JLP.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I forget about it. Wow. Look at the stupid things I say. I forgot Parvati was on Winners at War in a podcast last week. It's too much podcasting. Thank you so much for picking it up.
You have a lot of things going on.
No, it's not the baby brain. That's not fair. I'm just stupid and desperate, clearly.
No. Shannon.
Yeah. Well, do you think they should have done more? What could they have done?
I don't know.
I have a montage idea. I sang.
It just kind of came and went. That this was the final episode of Australian Survivor that's hosted by Jonathan LaPaglia.
Yeah, but he didn't know that. So how bad would you feel if you're hosting and then they're like, JLP, here's this bottle of champagne, and he's like, why? If it's not just the end of a season, I'll see you next season. They're like,
yeah,
no.
Well, how about this? What was the highlight of JLP's hosting? Was there anything that got added to the JLP pantheon from this season? Like, what was his best moment or two from this season?
People really liked the final 7 challenge at Tribal Council where he was talking about the balls. And he was saying, like, if your balls separate, you'll be crying or something.
Yeah. If your balls spread too far apart, you'll be in tears, I believe, was what he said.
Yeah.
It'll end in tears.
So you remember it.
Yeah.
It'll end in tears. So there you go.
It was foreshadowing that the season would end in tears, really, for him.
Yes. But it shouldn't be all ball puns, right? Like, that's not the whole legacy. Like, JLP is a lot more than ball puns.
No, of course not.
Yeah. I loved his whole way. His whole chemistry with the whole cast was amazing.
Yeah. Well, how about just JLP as a whole? I know you've already done so much commemorating JLP as a host. But what do you feel like, especially because, you know, we have so much of Jeff to compare him to? What do you feel like is the biggest difference between Jeff and JLP as the host of Survivor?
I think JLP is a little more down to earth. I think Jeff is like Jeff. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like JLP feels more on the level of the players. And it's like that kind of banter. I think he brings definitely an Australian rugged charm to it.
Yes, I agree.
But yeah, I think it's like that. There's more like kind of almost casual chemistry. Not that Jeff doesn't have that, but Jeff is like Jeff, he's almost like a god, you know, and I think JLP's kind of in it with the players.
Yeah, I think that Jeff as a host really does try to vacillate between the two extremes of that he has like sort of like, hey, tough cop, enforce the rules, got nothing for you. Like there's that side of Jeff, sorry for you. I'm going to really, I'm the heavy, I'm the bad guy. But then there's also the part of Jeff of like the exploration of the human condition. And I don't really think that JLP really does that second thing of
He doesn't
like,
care
okay,
about
what
that.
does this mean to be like as so we see it so much with the loved ones visits, but also like in tribal council of explain this to me. What does this mean? I feel like that JLP is like a little bit more like nuts and bolts about trying to stick to like, what does this mean for the game?
Yeah, and he loves the game.
Yeah.
Not that Jeff doesn't. But I think JLP is more like a man of the people. Like I think he's a bit more attached to us and
Hmm.
what we want. And Jeff like doesn't he's not into that, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, I think that Jeff's a little above it and JLP's kind of like down here with us. And I think that maybe production didn't like that possibly
I don't know. Hard to
because he
say.
was ours and now he's gone.
Yeah. I'd love to just, before we talk about the Chizzy points and the confessional charts and all the goodies that you have, I just want to like circle back to Parvati and, what this win means for her Survivor legacy.
Well, she says it's the last time ever.
Yeah. Do you believe that?
I don't know. So did Shawnee, and then I whittled her down in one interview in 12 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think these
I'm
players
trying
come
to
back
think
all the
of what the
time.
circumstances would be for Parvati to do some kind of,
Legends.
yeah.
You think she's not there if they're getting like Sandra and Tony and like all of those people again?
If there was some kind of like, and I know that Winners at War was kind of that, but if it was like, this is it, this is like the final time of like, we're retiring these players and have them come back, I could see it again.
Yeah. I think everyone says, I mean, like what the whole wish list last year was like, well, that person's definitely out. We've heard from
Yeah.
sources. I think some of those people are on 50, like on 50.
Hmm.
Yes. So I don't believe any of these players. And I don't want to believe them.
Yeah.
But I think, I mean, the legacy, she spoke about it so well. You know, it was a deep personal hurt for her to lose Samoa. And I think we don't think about that enough. You know, in all of the Stan wars of who should have won Samoa, like at the end of the day, Parvati was a 26-year-old woman who played Survivor 3 times in 3 years and won and had the perception of her always questioned and her game questioned. And she loses there. She's been through this really traumatic experience with Russell, which sounds like I'm kidding, but I'm not. And I don't know. I look back at that now and I think that would have been a lot. Like, no wonder this is like healing for her and it's like at a completely different part of her life. And Winners at War wasn't the, wasn't following up on that in a way that felt right. This is
Hmm.
like such a great culmination of all of that for her when she felt like she had unfinished business. So, I mean, that's amazing for her and it's amazing from a story perspective. And I think it's great for the franchise.
Not to mention healing from Dondi.
I mean, was Dondi like was that a bad experience?
I mean, probably good in some ways, but she did come up short on Dondi. I mean, it is pretty amazing that coming away from it, it's sort of like I think about like Boston Rob and Tyson, who both kind of get just out of the game due to Tyson's mistaken vote, and then they both go on to win Survivor. For David and Parvati, works out where that only one of them can win, but somehow they both end up with a win only a couple of weeks after Dondi.
Yeah, and also Parvati was also on that villain's tribe.
Yeah.
That villain's tribe is crazy. That is like the success rate of the villains before and after is
Sure,
ridiculous.
sure.
Yeah.
Probably the greatest tribe of all time ever
Yeah.
assembled.
And now Parvati has another win.
Hmm.
It's absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it feels right. It's I mean, we talked about heroes versus villains in the longest podcast in RHAP history 4 years
Yes.
ago. And I remembered how, I mean, not that I forgot, but I was like, damn, Parvati's so cool. She's the coolest person ever. Of course Kirby feels that way. Can you
Hmm.
blame? No, I don't blame her for a second. So to see that now and also what it means to her to be in like this period of her life, decades later, what she's gone through, to know like, oh, I've got it even more, and like that assurance in herself must be amazing. I think that's so cool. And
Yeah.
yeah, as a Parvati fan, I think it's amazing. I think it's great for Survivor.
Great for Survivor. The
Yeah, for like the legacy of Survivor. Like, it's really cool. It's
I mean,
good that Parvati's a 2-time winner. That feels right.
yeah. And
And Sandra,
so,
we got it all. Like, we did it, and it's perfect. It just took decades, but we got there.
yeah, so a second title for Parvati. And now Parvati and Tony and Sandra become the only people to have won it twice.
Yeah, I'm seeing those discussions on Twitter already.
What discussions are you seeing?
Like, who's the best? I'm like, they're all great in different ways. Like, you know, anyway. But this is, I think, the debate now.
Listen,
Sandra's getting tagged in
Survivor,
comments. That's the other thing that was happening on Instagram.
has she weighed in? Has Sandra commented on the season?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But like in like negative comments, like take that, Sandra fans. I'm like, don't do that.
No, let's not do that. We're
Why
better
like-
than that.
No, you don't do that. Didn't they make up in the traders as well? Like, it's all good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
You know, Survivor is a stupid game, and
Well,
it's
best in
one
the world.
that you could be the best player in the world, and you could do all these things well, and then people then will go, target you for being the best at all these things. So you need to have certain weaknesses that people feel like, okay, well, I don't have to vote you out. And that's camouflage. And then also how good you are at camouflaging is a skill. So every strength is a weakness. Every weakness is a strength. It's very
best
hard
game
to
in the world.
parse
Yeah.
who is actually the best, because you could be so good at all the things that that's actually a weakness.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's
And having enough weaknesses is actually a strength. That
yes.
your brain will break.
So who's the best of the three?
Of the three?
Yeah.
If I had to sort of put my chip on one of those three to win in a future season,
I was kind of joking because you were like, this is unrankable.
no,
but no, please.
Well, I would say that if I had to put a chip on one of the three, I would now say I would put it on Parvati, where I feel like that Sandra's strength is her ability to hide. I kind of feel like but I think that Parvati showed that she doesn't necessarily need to hide. She can sort of like get through in plain sight, and then ultimately, win these challenges at the end of a season to be able to do it, where Tony can just like outrun you, Sandra can hide, and Parvati could just stand there in plain sight. And it's sort of there's an interesting it's like a rock paper scissors with those three.
Yes. Some would say would outplay Outlast, but I don't think it's a perfect.
I don't think it's a perfect three. You know, Tony's the road
they have it
runner.
all.
He's like meet, and like he's it's hard to catch him. He's a greased pig. You need to be able to really like, okay, everybody, like this is what we're doing. We're gonna get Tony out. Sandra's the person, she's gonna disappear, and Parvati, it's just the person that she's just standing right. She's right there. Somebody do something. Somebody get her, and you can't.
Yeah, it's like Tony in the spotlight, Sandra's in the shadows, but Parvati might be like just right.
Mm-hmm.
Like in the Goldilocks analogy. That might be true. Is that right? Is that something?
Is it Goldie?
There's got to be something to this. Yeah, to this.
Is Tony too hot, Sandra's
Trinity?
too cold, and Parvati's just right? I mean, look, it worked out this season, and I think that it was such a great tour de force from Parvati, where that people knew she was a threat, and they still couldn't do anything. They still couldn't touch her. And so the only scenario in which you're gonna get Parvati is something like a Winners at War, where she gets swap screwed to a group where everybody is sort of like, Nick and Yul and Wendell are just like, all right, we are voting out Parvati tonight, right?
Yeah, which is interesting because a lot of the people on, I think even Twitter, are trying to take away from Parvati by being like, well, it was set up for her. She had Cirie, she had a majority of women. It's like Luke, who lost, knew a majority of people on the Australian tribe, like had relationships. David was out second, and he had so many relationships. Like Parvati came in with one kind of negative relationship with Tony and Cirie, and then and was otherwise like a known factor,
Yeah,
which
she had a
helped and
negative
hurt.
relationship with Tony. I thought
Well,
she
like,
was sort of like a nothing relationship with Tony.
well, she extorted him. She didn't vote for him to win. Like, he spoke about this in the X interview. Like, it was maybe slightly negative to kind of neutral.
Yeah.
But like, that's not a relationship going in. And if anything, all these other icons were taken out really early, and Parvati survived it.
Yeah.
So that's so impressive. Like, it was, and also she was in a minority U.S. tribe from the beginning.
I mean,
so it actually wasn't a
yeah,
great cast
if you're
for her.
going to take anything away from Parvati, like you're really stretching to say like this was anything but super impressive for Parvati.
But they're doing it. They're doing it, Rob.
Listen, that says more about them than it says about us.
Yes, but when has that ever stopped me from complaining about it?
Yeah. I mean, people will come up with, people have to be contrarian.
They don't think that. Anyway, you're right. You are right. But this is nothing but a celebration for us, for Parvati.
It's a celebration for Parvati. Again, it's a celebration for all the Survivor fans. And most of all, it's a celebration for you, Shannon, where you got to interview Tony. You got to interview Parvati. And you will get to interview Cirie.
I might do it.
I think you will. I think it's going to happen. Okay?
I hope so.
I know so. All right, let's talk about your charts, Shannon.
Yes. Do we have the charts?
I think we have them. I see them over here as... Okay, let's go ahead. Wait, let's look at this first chart here. This is the Chizzy points for the season.
Yes. So, as we can see... Am I frozen?
You're frozen,
okay.
but we hear you perfectly. Okay.
I'm still frozen.
You're frozen, but keep going. Keep
now.
going. Don't make it about that.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Parvati won by a lot. Parvati got 33 points. So it's going to be really convenient to get her a Chizzy mug.
Cirie has 25?
Cirie 25, and then Lisa 13, Luke 12, Janine 11. JLP got 2 points. Did you see that?
Is that what happened with the cat auction?
No, I did it.
Oh.
The cat auction, though.
When did JLP get 2 points?
I gave him in the I just love him. The Rachel Johnson won the Chizzy raffle, and she did not break the Chizzy, so I gave JLP 2 points.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean this tracks.
This is right. This feels right. Yeah, so that's the Chizzy charts. Parvati won. Congratulations. Well earned. We can look at the confessionals.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a lot of Parvati again. It's a very dominant season.
Okay. Is this do we have that chart also? Okay, or we'll whenever we get to it. Tell me about the confessional chart.
Well, I'm interested to know. Okay, here we go. This is from Kyle Dart. And also thank you to Randy Newpol for the Chizzy charts all season. Really appreciate it. Okay. So David got 15 confessionals. Now, what I find really impressive is that almost everyone in the merge got more than David. It's very rare in Australian Survivor.
Yeah.
For an early, like, major boot. Like, last season was like Nash got like more than half the jury. That's not bad, right? So
it's not too bad. So what? Give me the totals here. Because
Parvati's on, I think, 64.
64 for Parvati, 41 for Luke, 21 for Janine.
Okay. 41 for Luke. So they were kind of, and then how much is it? So 26 for Cirie. So it wasn't enough.
Yeah, if we could, Sam, if you could just go all the way to the end, because it's going off of my screen. Okay, then we got Cirie has what, 20, a lot, 26.
Yeah.
Well, it is,
This is a very good for Australian Survivor, although possibly the Parvati, and Parvati was giving such good stuff though. I just feel like we needed more from everyone else. Yeah. Tommy robbed.
Yeah, it's Australian Survivor. At one point, it was a true runaway for Parvati with the confessionals, but it ends up
it's evened up a bit. Yeah,
it evened up a bit, even if it was not super in doubt that Parvati was going to take it away. Even
if you were to combine Luke and Janine, you wouldn't get to as much as Parvati. But even so, like this is Australian Survivor. Welcome to the newbies who haven't been here before.
Okay. Yeah. Shannon, anything else you want to say as it pertains to Australian Survivor versus the world and unmitigated success?
What do you have something? I mean, I've talked a lot about this.
No, I feel like it was basically, we came into it and, it was super exciting to start. I mean, we sort of like saw the writing on the wall going into week 3, into week 4. Congratulations to Parvati.
Yeah, well said.
Yeah. All right.
And goodbye, JLP.
Goodbye to JLP. And I'm trying to see from my
And
notes
now
if
the
there was anything
song.
else.
And then we see JLP. You know what I mean?
What?
JLP went on to have a happy life. That's what they should have done.
Yes. Okay.
He attended Parvati's finale party.
He did.
Like that.
What
Yeah.
does he split time in Los Angeles?
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Yes? I mean,
I guess so.
I guess so.
Yeah. All right. Shannon, what's next for you after all
So many
this?
things. I had to
Yeah.
write them down. So I'm hoping to speak to Cirie. I don't know if you heard.
Yes.
So the recap's out. The exits with Janine and Parvati are out, as talked about.
Mhm.
So we're hoping Cass we're getting, unless it gets cancelled. I don't know
Mhm.
what we're getting anymore. I don't trust anything. I don't think we're getting Luke. Then I'm hoping to get deep dives. We are in talks with Parvati. So hopefully that will happen.
Yes.
And then maybe others.
Tell me about the tenor of the talks.
It's via email mostly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, actually, I messaged Parvati and then she got back to me and she said, email me. And then I emailed her and I'm yet to hear back.
Okay.
But she seemed keen and she followed me today on Instagram.
All right.
Yeah, she followed me on Instagram. So I'm like, I'm dying.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll keep my fingers crossed. I'll see if I can put in a good word for you.
That would be great. I mean, I think I'm doing pretty well. I think I'm kind of airport parking this right now.
You got
but
this.
Like, no, I do. Any good words.
I could only screw it up for you.
People should DM Parvati and be like, go on RHAP. Do it. Annoy her. That's the way to get what you want.
Yeah.
Right?
I feel like probably don't bully and peer pressure the contestants.
Not peer pressure. Oh, Parvati, I love your game. I'd love if you would talk with Shannon on RHAP. That'd be mean.
Yeah.
Don't make us look bad.
I think you're doing great.
Thank you. So what else? We're going to cover 49.
Yeah.
On the We Know Global Survivor feed. I'm starting a podcast mentioned on the recap.
Tell me about it.
Gussin Around.
Yes. What will you do on the podcast?
Well, Peter and I are going to talk about things, life, more like a generalized fun show. We're going to have fun. We're going to have not fun sometimes. Maybe. I don't know.
Not fun sometimes.
Maybe.
That's not a great pitch.
No, it's always going to be fun. It's always going to be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And it's often fun. And you can already subscribe at Gussing Around podcast on YouTube. And then there's going to be a feed. If you just follow me at Shannon Gates, I will share all of it when it happens very soon. We have we're setting up microphones. We're setting up a whole we is such a
Is there a
word.
second G at the end of Gussing Around, or are you using Gussin apostrophe?
Gussin Around podcast. No second G.
No apostrophe?
I mean, not in the app.
Got
not
it.
in the, but in the actual thing, yes. We have a graphic, which Sam does have, if he could still put it up if he wants to. But by Rio Teeks, who does great Survivor art, and that was commissioned. We have a theme song that I wrote that Will from America did the piano part for.
Oh, that's so nice. What a throwback for you and Will from America to collaborate.
Yeah, you'll hear it soon.
A true Australian Survivor versus the World collaboration of the United States and Australia coming together. So you and your husband, Peter, you are expecting parents, you are podcasting together, and you're just going to talk about what's going on in life, all the airport parking people that you fleece.
Sam God, this is Gussin Around. That's the graphic.
Mm-hmm.
How good is that?
Very good.
Our cats. Yeah. Very happy with it. It's not AI. I would never.
Okay.
It's commission. So I think we're going to talk about everything. It is we're in this interesting stage of our lives. Our journey to parenthood has already been interesting. I'm sure will continue to be interesting. We're both podcasters. We both have thoughts on, the world and pop culture and all the fun stuff that I think a lot of our audience share as well, similar interests and just life, just a fun talk show. I'm not concerned about the content, I can talk. So I think it's just been about setting it up and then we're just going to chat. And I think it'll be really fun.
When is the
first
I think episode?
Soon. It's going to be soon. You see, we got mics we're setting up and Peter's doing all of that. So we got to do that. And then I'm hoping to get it out very soon.
Yeah.
Very, very soon.
Tell me if this is too inside baseball. Have you talked about who is going to drive the podcast?
No. But see, that's the kind of thing we can talk about on the podcast.
Yeah. Okay.
That's fun. I mean, you podcast with a spouse. I've never podcasted really with Peter. So I think it will be interesting.
Because he does podcasting in his own right.
Yes. Peter's also a podcaster. So
Some people might not know that. Some people might be very insulted that I asked that question of like, Rob, Shannon is a very experienced podcaster. Well, why would you say that she wouldn't be the driver?
I kind of do think I'll drive though. Unlike in this is interesting. See, this is already for gussing around. See, Peter's the world's worst actual backseat driver. To the point where I will not drive.
Stay tuned.
So on the podcast, if he's gonna backseat drive my driving, we'll have issues. And that's interesting.
Because on podcasts, there's some podcasters in RHAP and beyond. Some people are really good at like being the driver of the podcast, and other people are good at being the, co-pilot, navigator of the podcast. I like to call it like the color commentator. Every podcast needs two people, an organized person and a crazy person.
I think I'm both.
And some of us like can sit in either seat.
I'm very organized. Peter's not crazy. I'm clearly crazy.
Yeah.
Clearly, if this podcast wasn't enough of an example of that, no one needs more proof of that.
Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting to see our dynamic reflected back. Like we've been together for
you try it on. Maybe
12, 13 years. So it'll
All right. Well, we're looking forward to that.
I think
Shannon,
even that's interesting. Check it out. Gussin Around podcast. Yeah.
You did such a great job with this Australian Survivor versus the World that you and your coverage really did help to, make it feel as elevated as it was. And what a worldwide spectacle this turned out to be for you to do all these podcasts, including the recent patron Q&A that you did. So how many podcasts did you do total for this short season? You did what, like 23 podcasts?
At least. I mean, it was 10 episodes and that's already 14. And then how many then I did a patron Q&A, that's 5. And then how many X interviews have I done?
Yeah. You did more
so
podcasts
far, 10.
than
I think 25
Janine got confessionals.
Then a lot of people did. but that's Australian Survivor.
So keep up the good work, Shannon. Looking forward to hearing what everybody has to say in the comments. Anything else?
No, I mean it's been a privilege to podcast about it. It's come at an interesting time for me, a very nauseous time for me, which I can now publicly state. But it's been such a joy. I've loved covering Survivor this year. Like we started doing the dailies. We put it all on YouTube, like things I wish I'd done earlier. I've just loved it, and I appreciate the audience so much. I've appreciated the comments so much in the last couple of days. Thank you, everyone, and I will get back to people, and I will read through it all, about the baby and the coverage, and I really appreciate it. The baby and the coverage. I don't know what my life looks like in a few months, this is, and not that I always want a podcast and I always love Survivor, but I'm glad I have this time, and I'm really glad I'm going to be at San Fran with you guys and everything. So everything feels like it's in the right place right now.
We'll see you in person in just a couple of months. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye. This is RHAP. We know reality TV.